Every now and then we do a special report. You know what the special report is? Because it doesn't fit in a newscast. It doesn't fit in a Bible study. It's kind of a convergence of sorts. And Mercedes, we have something which we've been doing. I have to say, I've been loving it. I didn't know if I was going to love it, but I came out of the business corporate world into the ministry, then went into the political media, church, Seven Mountain thing. But lately, you and I have been working with Ed Rush and business people that are interested in just building wealth and expanding their calling in the area of the marketplace. I mean, most of our people they're entrepreneurial. They figure out a way to make money on their own. And what we found was that we could create an incubator, like a supernatural business factory is what I call it, where people come in to the factory, and in the course of we do some short webinars where we just do divine downloads real quick, but we also meet together for a couple of days, and they're transformational events. And the reason I know it is because I leave with more than I came, and I poured out the whole time. So there's this divine atmosphere. Ed Rush, please join the show. Good to see you, my brother.
Lance, it's awesome to be here. Last time I saw you, you and I were talking together in a baby video created by AI, so it's really good to see your face.
It was, yes. The adult us. And who knows if this will be converted once again into infantile us without our permission and posted without our knowledge.
For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, Lance and I are going to do a Zoom training this week. I promise I will play you that clip. It's slightly embarrassing, but it's also fun at the same time. And back to what you were saying in the intro, and to be very serious, Billy Graham in the year 2000 said that he believed the next great revival in the church was actually going to happen in the marketplace. And I know for one, I left the military. I was going to go into ministry. I was going to be a minister. And God brought me kicking and screaming into the business space. And I can tell you, without a doubt, I've done 100 times more ministry in the business space than I ever would have done if I was in the ministry. Nothing against the traditional ministry world. It's just that the field is so ripe and the laborers are so few. And so it's a pleasure to work with business owners like we do, to find people who have great ideas, even if they have just started or haven't even started yet, and to shepherd them into not only making millions of dollars, but having a lot of fun and impacting a lot of people in the process. So it's been a blast.
Well, the main thing I want to throw out there for you to have to answer, and Mercedes, I want you to be prepared to add something also.
Okay.
Is that I really believe that we're living in a divine timing, that the United States, when I go back to where we were, from COVID to January 6th, to the 2020 election, to the 4 court cases with Donald Trump, to the shots in Butler, and then the other guy that got caught at the golf course. You talk about a cliffhanger a couple of years, but the reality is we're now in a period where the prayers that have been prayed, the tears that have been shed, and the trauma that's been experienced, has all been stored up in heaven, and God's releasing a period of blessing. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ed and Mercedes, this corresponds to the period of time like Joseph when he was before Pharaoh and said, hey, there's some tough times in the future. Don't think the Bible still doesn't have its dark chapters about the end. But right now, there's a divine parentheses. We were in Washington this past week. I was in 5 days of meetings with different organizations and was over there in the East Wing and the West Wing also meeting with people. And the word came up at least a dozen times, moment. This is a unique moment. We're in a special moment. Folks, when you're in a moment, you're in a place of unusual circumstance. And Ed, is this not an accelerator moment?
It's unbelievable. By the way, you're totally right about the timing. We went through 4 very difficult years, 2020 to 2024, and you felt literally in January, actually last November, it began to stabilize, things starting to shift. And what I saw in the spirit was actually these huge mantles shifting from ungodly people, like the sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteous, kind of shift. And all of a sudden, people started getting new authority, kind of new strength in their particular area of influence. And I saw people grow. My business has grown, by the way, just in the last 8 months, almost 300%. That's an example of exactly the moment that we're in. And I couldn't agree with you more, Lance. We were in a time, I told my wife, we were having this fun conversation about my schedule, which is picked up. And I said, I've been in enough dry seasons to know that when it's raining, I'm going to run around with buckets to catch everything that I can, because we're in one of these moments where our friend Patricia King, I was just talking to her a couple weeks ago, and she said we're in the season of at least 2 years, but probably 4 years of open heaven. I thought, what a perfect way to describe that. And so if you're watching and you are a business person, let me be very clear. Now is the time to reap. It's reaping season. If you are not a business person, but you're kind of have an entrepreneurial mindset, you have an idea of starting something, maybe writing a book, maybe sharing your message or story, maybe you want to be a consultant or a coach or an advisor, now's the time. Start with step number one. Buy the website, come to an event, get some training, do it. I'm talking about make the first step forward, because now is an amazing time to be alive. And we really do have a window, and we don't know what's going to happen 4 years from now, but we do have a window right now.
Amen.
Well, Mercedes, we're going to be putting together our Accelerator Secrets for a coming up real fast webinar I just found out about. I took my roller skates off, realized that's why I want to get Ed on right now. Mercedes, what's your accelerator thought? And when will we have our webinar with Ed so we can share our divine downloads with the people?
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, you put the link on the screen for me. And I just wanted to say that I agree with Ed that something I really see in the spirit is it's almost like battlefield promotions, that almost after the election, we see a real divine shift. Honestly, almost a year ago when President Trump was almost assassinated, there was a shift that began to happen in the spirit, in the unseen realm. And I've experienced it myself. So many of my friends have experienced these battlefield promotions. And so I love what Lance and Ed are saying, that it's time that you're in a moment and we need to transform that into a movement. And so if you have an idea, if you have a business, you're a solopreneur, you're looking for growth, you're saying, okay, how do I start to leverage some of this new technology that's coming out, AI? How do I start masterminding with other really, really brilliant people? We want to talk to you all about it. And so Ed and Lance put together this amazing Zoom. It's called supernaturalzoom.com. You can go to supernaturalzoom.com, sign up. It's a free webinar, and we're just going to dive into, I mean, you guys have been doing this for almost a year now. We've had essentially a mastermind of a special group of people, and there's been so much growth that I'm sure Ed's going to talk about. But it's for you too. So if you're watching at home and you're saying, oh, I'm just not sure if I'm ready to get started, now is the time. You have to seize this moment. You have to walk into the fullness of everything that God has planned for you.
And it is possible to download a supernatural business plan. I mean, what's interesting about what you do, what we're doing together, actually, is creating this combination of where there's a prophetic dimension where people can just kind of dial down, align with heaven, get the traffic out of their head, and begin to receive from the Lord what it is that He's showing you, He wants to bring into your future, and then reverse engineer the steps as we come back into a focus on business process, how to get from where you are to the dream that God gave you. There really is a way to download blueprints from heaven. Isn't that right, Ed?
Amen. Thank you for saying that. If you look over my shoulder on the wider shot, you can see this tool that I use called the Wisdom Pyramid. Right up at the top is Divine Wisdom. Every single event we do, every training, that's sitting right there as a reminder that step number one in your business, in your life, in your parenting, in your friendships, in your family is to ask God, what are you doing right now? Honestly, it's the first step for everything. I would have saved a lot of struggle and a lot of money if I had asked God this question first. The times when I really had breakthrough was when I was asking God this question first. And we do these big events, literally, where business owners will come in 300 to 500 at a time and literally download an entire business plan from heaven. How amazing is that? I mean, how much certainty will you move forward with knowing that you're receiving wisdom from heaven? And we're going to be talking about that this week on the webinar, how to overcome obstacles, how to overcome a little prophetic disappointment, how to move forward with certainty to the kind of income and impact and lifestyle that God wants for you. Oh, there's the website, supernaturalzoom.com. That'll take you right to the place where you can register. We have 500 person limit, by the way, on Zoom. That's important. We always fill them up. So make sure that you register, save your seat, show up early, say hello and chat. This is a live training as well. I don't do these pre-recorded things. This is Lance and I talking to you live. We'll see your name in chat. We'd love to say hello and see how we can help you grow.
And I think the whole idea about, for people that have a business or a vision or an enterprise, I want to be able to believe, God, that when we get done with that, we're going to be talking about 3 or 4 actionable steps you could take to tangibly multiply the impact of what you're doing. And that includes this thing you're talking about is converting disappointment into its equivalent advantage. Because there's something about that verse where God causes all things to work together for the good. I mean, I just did a series of interviews today, and I'm talking to believers who have been, J6 locked up in prison, but how God, boom, used that to catapult them in a new direction right now. No matter what the enemy's thrown at you, no matter what contradiction you've endured, there is a greater benefit wedded into it if you can unpack it. And so I want to talk about how to convert the disappointments into God appointments, divine appointments, so that you can actually accelerate into the future. And speaking of that acceleration process, Mercedes, you did in our last workshop a download on artificial intelligence, AI, because that's really a business accelerator strategy in itself, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, it's the equivalent. There's so many different ways you can leverage AI. We talk about it from time to time. Happy to talk about it more. I think I'll be talking about it actually at an upcoming event that Ed's having. But there's so many ways to leverage it. I mean, you can replace employees. I mean, employees that would cost you $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. You can replace everything from research, data analysis, graphic design. There's so many things that AI can do right now that it's so easy to unlock for a very nominal fee. I mean, I think the pro plan for ChatGPT is maybe $50 a month, but it is so powerful. And if you unlock how to use it, we're moving into something what I call the creator economy, that I just wrote a children's book with AI. I would have had to pay, a design person, somebody to lay out the book, somebody to create all the graphics, somebody to work with me to maybe help refine the story out. I did all of it with ChatGPT and maybe throwing in Canva, like I'll add the Canva in there. But took me 30, 40 hours, called Lila's Garden. You can get it on Amazon. Somebody at a recent event was like, you need to tell people the name of it. You talk about it, but you don't tell anybody. And so, I mean, that's just one aspect of what you could do with it. I mean, you could create baby videos. I don't know if you just saw the latest release of Google's video engine. It is scary what's possible and what's out there. And so we're moving to a creator economy. Anything is possible. If you have an idea, it can come to life now.
Well, Ed, let's talk about. I guess I'm already out of time here. I can't believe it. But what should people be expecting on this webinar? That if they're going to take the time to do it, it's going to be at 1 o'clock Central Time on Thursday. What should they come expecting?
Yeah. So first thing, I think this training is good for basically three different kinds of people. Number one, if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, you've got a business of any format, and you want more clarity, you want more acceleration, you'd like to receive more money with less work, that's you. Number two, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, business owner, you've got some ideas. Maybe you have an urging to move out of the career space and move into the entrepreneurial space. Maybe write a book, kind of launch your own mission, use AI to write a children's book, which is amazing, by the way. So if that's you, this training is for you to come and get new downloads and new ideas from heaven about your next steps. And number three, if you're a support person or you're a career person and you're not even sure what's next for you, but you want to be prepared and you want to be trained, this is the place for you. Okay. So if you're in one of those three places, come and join us. It's totally free. It'll be quite like we're doing right now, but with a little bit more in-depth teaching. I'll certainly be on the whiteboard, kind of going in a little bit deeper. Lance and I will be sharing some business strategies and certainly some stories from people that we've worked with. You'll leave inspired. You'll leave with some new ideas, and you'll leave finding a little community too. Sometimes it's very lonely as an aspiring entrepreneur. And so the website's below. It's Supernatural Zoom. It's this week. No guarantees if you can't make it, if we have a replay or not. We do sometimes, we don't sometimes. So join us live. Make sure you jump on chat and say hello. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do, and we will have a blast with you as well.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be focusing, I think, on the accelerating your way through the transition. What you don't want to do is you don't want to wake up 2 years from now, halfway through a 4-year open window and realize, I should have done something way back then. So I'm going to talk about how to position yourself so that you can anticipate the necessary transitions you're going to be going through, because God's telling me for folks that are 50 years old and older that one of the things that heaven is doing right now is increasing prioritization. And that's because when you come to the convergence period of your life, where all your experience now it's now got to be, in a sense, monetized and communicated to other people. That requires increased prioritization on your brand, who you are, what you do, what God's called you to do, and what is it that you do different than anybody else? Because if you can do who you are, it's going to be more effective than if you try to do somebody else. But I'm going to talk to you about that, because I think it's all part of the accelerator that God's doing right now. Mercedes,
Yes, sir.
we're going to be doing this this webinar there. If you had one AI tip you would give, what would it be?
You always throw me the weirdest curveballs.
I know,
at the
give me your
weirdest
Gene
times.
Bailey. I'm doing
It's
what
just
Gene
like-
Bailey used to do to me.
It's just-
And, we'll talk about faith in the marketplace, and I'll give you nuclear questions.
Number one tip right now, and it's not even AI, but it's just healthy, is that you can't trust what you see or what you hear anymore.
Man.
And yeah, there's Ed's amening in the back that
No
it's,
joke.
It's scary.
Especially after you just talked about Google's video release. Just so you know, Mercedes gave this presentation to our Mach 10 coaching group 2 weeks ago on AI, and I immediately, she'll tell you this. I was like, you got to come to my summer event and teach this because it's so important. And if you're not getting with AI right now, you're not behind. Now's the time though, like to get on it. And man, it's unbelievable what people can create that looks real. That totally looks real. We're in a new day and age. I've been telling business owners the old is the new. So things like live events, meeting people, talking to them face to face, real phone calls. That's like the new thing now because people are trying to figure out like what's real, what's not, who posted this, who didn't. So you're right on, man.
Totally. Well, and we did one, and maybe we'll play this video on the webinar too. But just to show the power of how real it looks, there's a tool out there where we took some video of Lance, and you can upload existing video of someone, and then you can do text to video. And so I put in there, "Hey Mercedes, this is Lance. I just wanted to say that Chelsea and Will are doing such a great job. I want you to go ahead and give them a $10,000 raise. Don't bother reaching out to me. It's clearly me. It's totally vetted. Don't worry about it. Just let the accounting know." And I mean, people think it's real. Like, had I not said this isn't real, you would think Lance just gave everybody a raise. So I'm just saying we live in a world, and I don't think we're ready for it. I know you're trying to land the plane here, but you got me going. But we're not ready for it. That we can't trust what we hear or what we see anymore. It's actually pretty darn scary. And I won't. I was going to say I brought it up at a White House briefing, but I'm not going to say anything else. I'll save it for the webinar.
I'm just going to throw out one shocking thing. Not only could they create, right that afternoon, a video of me giving everyone on staff a raise and looking like it's me right now talking, but it could be done in multiple language. I could be running an office in India or in Brazil, and you could do different languages. So the scope of what is there for anyone who's looking at media like this, I mean, it's beyond. We're not even tapping into it, and we're discovering it and teach it. So it's knowledge is multiplying at a rapid coefficient right now, and really you don't need to know everything. You just need to have one actionable great idea, and it could shift everything you're doing. So once again, bring up that webinar, supernaturalzoom.com.